it's also important to go back from the start and ask, like, how did your journey get into acting, and how did you ultimately find yourself in this position?
I never splurged money. I have never bought champagne. I've never had champagne in my life. The first time I had Hennessy was beginning of this year. I have always showed up on time, and thank God I'm healthy. I've never been sick ever. So when you live alone in your head and you are living alone, you might be missing things that are right there in front of you. If I'm going to let go of this, what is it going to do now? Am I going to self-destruct subconsciously? Yeah. And I thought, is this going to come back when I was doing it? Is this going to come back and haunt me? Is this going to come back and haunt me? And it's the universe saying, you can't. It's giving you back. These people watching TV, they're giving. Everything is a yin and yang, as within, as without, up, down, left, right, forward, backward. The toes you step on today might be attached to the feet that are attached to the asshole that you have to kiss tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Podcast and Chill. And today we are in the midst of a motherfucking legend.
Legend indeed, bro.
Legend.
Yeah.
One of the biggest actors to come out of the country, man.
Yeah, man.
Like, this resume is insane. So Penduka, listen to this, right?
Yeah.
This guy, he was on Generations as Silo Mvuyane.
Okay.
He was on Seven Delan as Mr. Snakes. He was on Isibaya as Mr. Pakela. He was on Backstage as the Duke. Soul City as Vuyela. Ashes to Ashes as Sangoma.
Wow.
And not just TV, by the way. He did some films as well. He did How to Steal 2 Million as Vusi, Inamba Namba as Kenny Dex, as well as Cuckold as the other man. Is that a porno? Cuckold? Is that...
No.
For your TV.
Please welcome Mr. CARLO RADEBE. Oh, RADEBE.
Shout out, Placano.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah, thank you for the Oscar. I've suffered greatly. Nyanbonga nonke across the board, to South Africa, on the internet, to the people in the clouds that are listening, watching. Thank you so much. And
how long did you practice that for?
It just came up now. And thank you very much for having me on, and to all the people behind your broadcast. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be heard. And I'm so sorry for the concern. And the one thing I think that touches people's hearts and disturbs them unnecessarily is the banner that actor in financial woes and broke and homeless. And I'd like to correct that. I just did this morning on Facebook. It was never that. When I put out the original post on the 8th of April, Moritz Neethling, thank you, Moritz. I went to Technicon Pretoria with him. The original post had said that I'm financially distressed and that I've lost my residence. And that I am residing on the back of someone's property, a very kind family. I've been staying with them since the beginning of the year. That was the beginning of January. And it did disturb them. I had to go, and when it comes out in the media about 2 days later after the original post, it comes out that they just circumvented the fact that it was financially stranded or broke and lost its place of residence. It comes out broke. I understand they've got to sell their newspapers, and I appreciate, thank you very much for putting out the word for me to the same media that tends to want to sell the paper or the platform, whatever it is on the internet. Thank you very much. Nonetheless, no, I have not been homeless. And there was an article that came out shortly afterwards, about 4 days after the 8th, 4 days afterwards, that offered help to me in terms of a temporary job, training students at an academy, a well-known and reputable academy. And that obviously it's insinuating that I'm covered and that I'm going to be taken care of. And then very soon afterwards, it comes out later on that day or the next day, it comes out, have you seen this man? Like on the milk carton. We are looking for him urgently. And I'm looking at this, and on my Facebook post, the front of Facebook, it says my agent's name. It stipulates my agent's names and the telephone number. And when you Google me, CARLO RADEBE, one of the first things that comes up, the tabs, is my agent and their name. So this is surprising to my agent myself. Ukuthi bafunana nami manje abantu abafuna ukunginikeza umsebenzi, abantu abathumela imali since the 8th bacabanga ukuthi sengilahlekile ngiyahlanya yini ngicela uncedo, and then the next thing ngiyahamba ngiyozilahla esigangeni. So it's making me, it's discrediting me and any potential help I might get. And now, please, clarity that I posted again. There's a reason why I posted again the 4th of July, April, May, June, July, the 4th of July. I posted again asking for help. Then I post again the 12th of August. And people, when I don't use the platforms, Twitter and so on, thank you very much, Twitter, for putting out the word for me and getting me some amazing donations. But bear in mind now, getting back to why people, when I go, not going to Twitter, but my Facebook, what people are commenting spelled out almost like a Twitter link, because there was a lot of people that are upset to Guti. Why is this guy lying on his back? Didn't we send donations? Okay, going back to the help, the 8th of April, that was offered to me without consulting my agent, without even calling me as such. I'm tagged, I'm labeled, I'm branded, I'm owned, I'm going to be taken care of. My agent says, what's this? What's going on? I say, I don't know. Miracles, diablos. There I am. I found rescue from the academy and the people behind it. Isn't that great? Have they called you? Have they contacted you? No. To and fro. So we wait until I receive a call from somebody at DNA saying, okay, we're on your case. You're going to be taken care of the 1st of May. You're going to have lodgings. We'll get back to you. Somebody will call you and tell you what's what. Mm-hmm. The donation stopped 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th of April. People get paid the 15th of April. Some people, most of them, end of the month. So you must understand that now I'm panhandling people. And the giving up, I didn't think, the date wasn't important to me. It was my state, like, running out of this, that. For 19 years going on, you get used to it when you're alone, you don't have children. So now people are giving up. They're seeing homeless, whatnot. Thank you very much to those people. Carry for the middle of the month, for towards the end of the month. 100 got 350. Some people are spiteful. This guy's getting 350 at the end of the month and is trying to get work. Yes, I'm going to double that, Bracalo. Yes, 350 just to make double what you've been getting. Thank you so much. Yeah, that money helped me, and it lasted me April, May, June. The 1st of July, I put out another plea, because now the people that had so generously offered me help with DNA, nothing happened. And then it closed down everything. Okay, I'll get to this thing here now. So now the people that are upset with Twitter, I understand that. And apparently there had been the odd celebrity that had asked for money, maybe before me, 1 or 2. And then after I had asked, unbeknownst to me, I find out later, Facebook, celebrity. No, I didn't know about that. I would open a floodgate to a vitriol. Mangboya Futi the second time, the 4th of July. People are to hell with that. And I will address this. So just to go back to DNA, them offering me help. No, I believe for everything, there's a reason. And when one door opens and one door shuts, sometimes it's meant to work like that. Another door has opened. And since I posted last on the 12th of August, and whatever's been building up, DNA has opened up for me another door unbeknownst, on a spiritual realm, to me being quiet and coming out and asking for donations because nothing happened, but it happened the way it did. But it might seem nothing happened. It's disappointment. And I kept quiet about that, just hoping, praying, and seemingly I was ghosted. And I just gave up, came and asked for donations again. So now what this has led to is my being on a platform like yours, guys, and people wanting to know what the hell is going on. This offer that I got the 8th of April has gathered momentum and steam to this point. It's acted as a springboard now to hop, skip, and jump to where I am. And maybe my plea and my thoughts could be clearer than if I had approached the media and you guys had asked for an interview after the 8th of April to say, hey, come in here, tell us your story. DJ Smooth, thank you very much. I believe he also has a podcast. Am I correct? Thank you. Yeah, I worked with you on Backstage. I never forgot that. Thank you very much. So now if I come out then, it wouldn't be as urgent or as clear to me in my mind to speak what I have to speak, but I don't really have anything to say or make proclamations and assertions on or fight anybody. So I thank that original offer, and there's no one to blame. How things have turned out, and I'm sorry for this.
No, don't worry.
It's a good thing I didn't put on my ever-ready batteries this morning. I packed up with Duracell batteries, so this is, and my branding is not good. Yeah. So just to clarify everything, I'm so grateful, and I'm so sorry for the concern that I've caused. And some people were crying and whatnot when the original articles came out, and DNA posted to the rescue, and they were crying and praying. So their tears haven't fallen to the ground. They haven't been wasted. They've been swelling up and mounting pressure. And here comes the pressure, and hopefully it's going to open up brand new doors of opportunity for me and for people like me that have worked in this industry for a while, and not just only me, but even younger people that have been given the opportunity to be branded working, and then they wind up not working, not because of anything in particular, but sometimes you have a shelf life and you don't know in this business or any career you're in, there's competition. So then you get sidelined. It's not sidelining, it's the roll of the dice. When you go into this business, you know what it might be like, and it's not everybody that has the opportunity to constantly keep working. So I'm also speaking on behalf of those people to be remembered and to be considered, because once you're on TV, it might not be, I'm not talking maybe somebody that does one thing, but maybe one thing that has season after season after season on one soap, and it goes on for long. Don't forget those people, that they have to carry their heads wherever they go. So when you are considering, please, the producers and the people that agree or not, that these people, we have used them, we've put a brand on them, a stamp to say, you're, oh, careful with that word, celebrity, VIP, very important person. You are a person that's recognizable, a person that was celebrated at some point during your run. So from time to time, they must be remembered, especially veterans. They must be remembered. And unfortunately, it's not so MBA degree. With the business module now, everything has changed. The crunch to put seats on bums and have a turnover for producers, I can imagine, is tight. So you have, speaking on older actors like me, when you walk into an audition, you're going to have in the front now maybe 2 pages. The social platforms, are you with Facebook? Are you with WhatsApp? Are you with Instagram, TikTok, all these things? So, and then you fill in your details. That is discouraging right there out the gate. It's discouraging for especially older actors, and you can only go with this one year, but you're not active. And the producers, I can understand, many others can understand in the business, they're using this now to ensure that the people that they hire, when they start shooting the show with approval from the producers, hey, can I post this? Can I post that? When the show starts airing, they're going to go out there and make sure that the money that they've invested in this tough economy comes back to them so that they're able to keep providing jobs and get greenlit for the next projects and have sufficient turnover or profit from the previous production. I understand that. But now to just decide, okay, everybody has to, you have to, if you want a job, you must have social platform activity. If you don't, then we can't consider you. There should be certain special treatment, but for certain veteran actors, to say the guy hasn't worked in so long, obviously you can see he's not qualified to say I've got so many followers or whatever, because we don't have that mindset. Now at a certain age you burn out. But then let's just look at his audition. If there's a callback, there's a callback, and use him. And then he'll do publicity. Yes, as per contract, no problem. And just to be said, so now I'm not asking my plea for help. I am not asking ukuthi mina vele ngispecial why ngasebenzi ngibe steering. I want to be shooting American movie films with a machine gun out of a helicopter down below at a speedboat at the bad people down there, and I want music. No, anginandaba steering or not. Ukuthi nje ngisebenze, even if it's a few calls, which is what I'm used to. Many other actors, there are many actors, you don't even know their names. You just know, I've seen them in this and this and that. If that's my lot, and they make a living, and that's it's only one movie, a movie that I did for Mzansi Bioscope, Mzansi Magic, Rands and Family. Thank you, Tapelo Mukwena. Thank you to the cast that did that I am a lead as the detective. And I don't have anything but gratitude and humility to work with cast and crew and to get whatever parts are suited for me, whatever I'm felt by the producers and the people behind, I'm able to do. And it's not that I want to be working all the time. I'd like to be given a fair opportunity to audition. And I've been auditioning. I've got a very good agents, contractors, casting agency. They've been around since 1997. I've been with them since 2015. And I've had a whole slew of auditions from Netflix to Showmax, independent the movies and the art TV, and it's all good work that I get the scripts. And I get many, sometimes thrice a month, sometimes once a month, sometimes it'll be quiet, 2 months go by, and then they start coming in. And over the last 3 years particularly, nearly 3 years, I've auditioned constantly, and the doors close like they do in any profession. When you go for an interview, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get work. And within reason, they do close. You trip and fall, boom, boom, and then a door opens and you come in and you don't get what you're hoping for, audition for, but you get to work and you realize you're appreciated and you're needed. And at the end of the year, you've done this and that. Somebody says, how do you make a living? You say, I'm an actor. Okay, I'm an artist, I'm an engineer. I submit my tax at the end of the year, and it's not to be able to do that. It's not the first time. I don't even remember my accountant's name, but there are many times when I don't submit tax. 2 years, I've stopped apologizing and calling her every time at the beginning of tax season to say, so sorry, but I have, Marina. So sorry, Marina, but I haven't worked the previous year. As soon as I'm working the new tax year, obviously you'll know. It's heartbreaking, man, not to work at all. And if anything, I'd like the chance to be auditioned and to work. It's the doors are slammed. But then why am I special? So many actors go through that.
100%. And I think the premise for this conversation, I mean, everything you're saying is valid. But with what's going on right now in your life, and what you just said, I think it's important for the premise of this discussion that you take us back to how it all started. Obviously, yes, everybody wants to know about what your current situation is, but I think it's also important to go back from the start and ask, like, how did your journey get into acting, and how did you ultimately find yourself in this position?
Okay. Drum roll, please. Order! Okay, make it very brief. This started out, I grew up watching a lot of TV. I was addicted to it. You didn't have so much TV back then as the kids have now. TV would only be on in the evenings for a couple of hours, and I was addicted to it. I loved it. Yeah. My dad got me to enjoy movies, black and white movies, and he'd be explaining what's going on. And I got sucked into that.
The 70s or 80s?
Late 70s.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of things that were English, like the $6 Million Man, Lee Majors, would be in Afrikaans. Before simulcast came around, Steve Austin, Die Man van Staal. That was one of the programs. You'd have to watch it in Afrikaans and understand it. Opi Plasierpoort, Love Boat was also in Afrikaans. Derek.
Love Boat.
Love Boat, yeah. You had to watch these things as a kid.
Dallas.
So now, Dallas, okay, now that was in English. Larry had
MacGyver.
R.I.P. Richard Dean Anderson, the A-Team, Mr. T, Dwight Schultz, Murdoch, Faceman, Dirk Benedict, and the late George Papard. I think all of them are still alive except George Papard. Mr. T is still okay. He still looks great. He's done less with the jewelry. Yeah. So I grew up watching all of that stuff. So what happens around about 1981, that's when I was 10 years old, 82. That's when I got my first TV show, Sinzigile. And I played a little kid. I had 2 episodes. I got into that, to answer your question very quickly, I got into that because my English was non-existent. I went to one of the first multiracial schools that was opened right then. I think it was 1980, around about the 81, I went there. And I was two black students there. The one was a very light-skinned girl that was living down the road from where I grew up, and the father was a priest at the Regina Mundi Church. Her name was Theodosia. She was very, very quiet, so she didn't experience any racism. We weren't in the same class. I think she was a standard ahead of me, and we never really talked. Never talked. We just never even tried to talk. We just walked. Anyway, the racism there at that school was pretty intense because, not all the teachers, the sisters, some really, really. So I promised myself at some point that I would learn this language. It would never defeat me again. Right there. That's why I identify with John Hurt when I saw him the first time in Adam.
What kind of racism were you experiencing at the school?
No, just sniggering, not knowing anything. The only thing I remember asking is realizing night before I go to school, I'd come from a school a few blocks from Zolala, where I grew up. So I did grade Sabi, and then I went to the school behind Regina Mundi Church Methodist. I did standard 1, and then I went to the white school. So now, night before, I realized I don't know this language. I asked Mfundi toilet, basic things. May I please go to the toilet? Mamachi kamalako bani batini. What is your name? Then in my name is CARLO RADEBE. So that was a joke. And the one good thing is I never got bullied by the guys at the school, ever. It was just the girls would just laugh at me. And the teachers, the sisters, 2 or 3 of them were not the type of racism. Being made to go and stand because I can't understand whatever's been asked. Everybody's reading, passing the book around or taking turns, and then stopped. Okay, what's going on here in the story on that page? I don't know what's going on. Get in front there, stand in front of the blackboard and stand there for the whole double period. I remember the one time I'm trying to please the principal so much. She was the sister there, Ursula, dragon lady. She didn't like me, so I'm standing in assembly with everybody, and then she had this portable microphone, and the students would take turns volunteering to carry it to assembly, and different students would take it away with her when she goes back to a residence or a class. So she asked, "Who's going to carry my portable boom box?" And I raised my hand. Other people raised their hands, and I hear, "Oh, not you, you pest!" To me, pest means nothing, and they laugh, and I smile, and it peters down, and it's taken away, and assembly's dismissed. This was after break. We're going back to class, continuing. The one colored guy says, Alistair Fredericks, Alistair was a standard one. He says to me, "Do you know what she just said?" I said, "Pest." I say, "I think it's a good thing. They're laughing."
Yeah.
I just missed out on carrying her speaker. He says, "Pest." I say, "No." He leaves me. When I get home, I say, "This is what happened." And the principal said, "Pest. Pest." Father knows. So, yeah, he approached the school board or whatever, and they sent an apology letter. That was it. And thank God I got out of that school in Standard 5. And then I went to Sacred Heart College in Observatory. When I got to that school, everything was different. I had to go back a standard because I hadn't caught up. When I wrote the exam to get accepted inside, I had to go back a standard. And I'm glad. And that school was completely different. And I was able to start learning this language, English, and the teachers there. And I just thrived. I had a fantastic English teacher, Mr. James Ishmael Shumba at Sacred Heart College. He was a great RIP. I found out years later he passed away. I had fantastic teachers, Peter Ranby, my drama teacher, Janet McLaren, Brother Neil, Mr. McGurk, Father Dryden, he was our priest. We had a chapel. Mr. Lil, RIP, he was our PT teacher. "Where's your PE kit?" So what? "Where's your PE kit?" That was the second class that we had PT, and somebody had forgotten their PT kit. And this was a dressing down example of what is going to happen if you come to school and you've forgotten your PT kit, except we didn't understand. I didn't understand. And some of the kids could pick up on the Cockney that is asking, "Where is your PT kit?" Because the student had forgotten it. And it comes out in Cockney as, "Where's your PT kit?" And the students standing there, dazed, confused, trembling, maybe pissing their trousers just a notch. And he screams it just to get it in the bone, in the marrow, in the jugular. "Where's your blanket?" Yeah, that was a great introduction to the rest of what I would learn from that school and how it bolstered my self-esteem. And I went into Pretoria Technikon at the insistence of my drama coach, Mrs. Janet McLaren. Yeah. And I got to Pretoria Technikon and I had great lecturers there. Thank you, Vaudrine Tehran. Thank you, Shirley Sachs, Audrey Mullen, Renee Tredu, RIP, Getsima, wow, Pinto Ferreira. Sound like I'm winning another Oscar. Now I've got two. How's my count? Yeah, so after Pretoria Technikon, I did some educational theatre, and straight off that leg in 2000, I did a whole tour of the country thanks to NETS, National Educational Theatre for Schools. Thank you very much, Brian Chartres. For a whole year, I did that and traveled the country up and down the garden route to Botswana, to Swaziland. We kept getting invited back, and it just freed me up to audition for the audition that would come up right at the end of the year, at the end of that contract, end of 2000. That was Backstage. And I got it. And thank you to Mfundi Vundla. He was in the room in the corner over there. I just got introduced to him and he was sitting there. And Kurt Egelhoff, he was the guy that was directing the audition, and there was this woman, Granny. She was reading the lines, and I say thank you very much to Granny, because I think I got backstage because of her. She was so flustered. She didn't know me from anywhere, and she was supposed to be reading behind the camera, and I'm in front of camera, and I'm Duke, and she kept fluffing even though she's looking at a script. And I think it opened me up to just improvising, because I felt sorry for her, and I thought, let's say, okay, cut, let's go for a clean take, and she'd be squared up with the lines. And no, those were the takes that they were keeping of my improvising. And eventually we go for a second take, and she flips up, and I improvise, and she started improvising. And thank you very much to ETV, Marcel Golding, and to Mfundi, Vundla, and all the people that I worked with, the cast and the crew at Backstage, that apparently made me such a legend. To people that hold that dear. And to me, I'm just putting bread on the table, and it gave me 4 years of life. That thing, Backstage, where I got my first house, my first car. I had a life. I had a fiance, and unfortunately, she stays with me a year and a half after I'd been retrenched, and she wasn't doing so great. She wasn't doing a job that paid so much, and now she's stuck with me in this house that I jumped onto just when I find out I'm about to be retrenched, and I go looking for a house, and it's something that I just put in the back burner, and I was paying rent, and reasonable rent. I was not staying in a golf estate, or I was paying rent in an apartment for a whole year. When we moved from behind Global Access Studios in Carlton Center to Hyde Park, opposite Hyde Park. So I moved there, and I could have bought a house right at the beginning when we moved there. So I was just paying rental. Right when I get the retrenchment notice, I went looking for a house. But this is just before the 2008, The Big Short, Christian Bale, when banks were just writing off debt and giving houses to anybody, knowing that there would be a market collapse. So that was 2005 when I got retrenched. And I was very surprised that when I applied for this, they probably called up the work and said the new producers that had come in, hey, just to quantify, verify, is this guy employed with you? And they would have probably said, no, actually, he's been retrenched. And probably they did, and the banks approved. And I managed to stay in that house, townhouse. God is great. For a year before I got a note from the bank to say, hey, by the way, you must pay your 4,500 rand here for your bond. That was the first time. And then a couple of months later, maybe 2 months later, it comes out, hey, listen, we need you to settle the entire amount of this 450,000 rand bond or 500,000 bond. You must do it within a month, otherwise your house is going to be auctioned a month from now, on this date, at this time, at that place. So I scrambled. I got an estate agent, and the estate agent didn't know me from a bar of soap. I had cards that I'd kept because I could sense that I'm going to be in trouble because I haven't paid my bond. I'm not working. And I collected these cards from the complex, the letterbox, and I kept them. So now when this shit hits the fan, I pull out the first card. It happens to be in blue. That's my favorite color. And here's this guy. This guy comes through. He doesn't know me from a bar of soap. I tell him what I do, and I'm in trouble. I don't have anywhere to stay. He says, don't worry. I just quit working for the bank. I just quit working for the bank. I've become an estate agent myself. I'll give them a call. Meantime, I'm going to put it up on my site. And as soon as I do that, they'll stop with the letters under your door to say you've got a month to stay there. If they do, call me, and I'll stall it and tell them at the bank, look, this guy's in trouble. And that delayed for nearly a year before my house. I was doing showroom. Every now and again, it'd call me, say, okay, you're going to have a showroom this Sunday. We've got to keep it up so that it is obvious that you're trying to sell the house. And the fiance that, she stayed with me for a year and a half until I had to tell her, listen. The places to rent, communes, what. You've been mentioning people at your work. The two people that are staying in communes at different places, and there's not enough people renting the rooms and the renters. And this is a sign. You keep saying this. This is a sign. I've been thinking about it. You have to move into this. Just, now, what about you? I say, don't worry about me. I'm not going to train you with a little bit that you make. I can't do that. Enough. The universe will take care of it. The universe will take care of me. Tears, delay. Then she's crying. Well, then eventually, no, I'm not going to be pretending there isn't an elephant in the room. Please. End of this month, then it got delayed. End of next month. A year and a half later, okay, she's found a place, she's paid the deposit. And it was tears. It was difficult. And then the boss was very kind to her. She worked 3 blocks away from the complex. The boss sent the driver in a bakkie, he came himself in another car. And I went with the other car that I settled for, the smaller car, and dropped her off, and that was it. And she's been there all along, but we don't have telephonic contact. It'll be the happy birthday, happy new year, what. She's been tremendous support for me, and I'll just say her name, that's it. Thank you, Ngiyabonga kakhulu, Thuli. Ngiyabonga. Thank you very much. Really, it's 20 years now. Yeah, it's 20 years since my retrenchment from Backstage. End of September is going to be 19 years. 19 years.
And where are we right now? What's your current situation right now?
My current situation has been the same, particularly since the end of last year, where I have lost my place of residence and I have a place to stay. And the people I'm living with, the family is very, very cool. And the thing was, I have to, it's to help me move on. And how do you like to have a guest that stays for you?
So you're staying for free?
Yeah, for free, but you can't stay for free. You can't stay for free for long.
And when you look back at I mean, we just listed your resume, which is incredible, by the way. When you look back, do you regret some of the decisions you make, and do you think maybe there's a point of accountability for financial decisions you might have made, been none the wiser at the time?
Yeah. The only thing that I would say regret-wise, okay, it's not the financial thing, abusing money. I still don't. Even when after Backstage, I got it's in movies, How to Steal 2 Million, Silom Voyane, what. There were times when I've been working. I've never abused money. I've never clubbed. Say, for example, with a girl that I was with for about nearly 4 years, she never asked me once, let's go clubbing. She was just a different type of person. Okay, even younger than me slightly. And I don't, there's nothing wrong with it. It is good that you are a celebrated person. We won't say celebrity, a celebrated person. It's good to go out, get out there and whatnot. Regret I never did. I never splurged money. I have never bought champagne. I've never had champagne in my life. The first time I had Hennessy was beginning of this year. Someone came up with a bottle and offered it to me and they were drinking. I was like, wow, the 500 Rand Hennessy. I don't even know anything about hard liquor. I have never wasted money on restaurants. I won't say it because it's branding now. I like that type of place. Simple. I'll go in the middle of the day, middle of the week, when everybody's at work, when everybody's broke. I'm just going to be quiet, middle of the month. I'll go and sit down and have something. I have never wasted money. I don't have that. Maybe not investing constantly while I was working. All right. So now the regret that I have is not socially networking myself and even physically networking myself. We were taught this at Pretoria Technicon. This is in the 90s, early 90s, before the internet. That you group going out there as actors, wannabes, once you are establishing yourself, you've got to network, stay in contact with each other, support each other. If anything comes up, auditions and open auditions, call each other, because eventually you'll be creating some kind of ecology type of system there where you're supporting each other. And then when Backstage comes out, still you didn't have Facebook and TikTok and all these things, but there were opportunities that I turned down. Red carpet invitations, the club is opening, and they're asking some of the cast members, sometimes all of us, if it was the club and club entrance appearance, the producer would ask, this is important, guys, if you could go and support for whatever reason, why the producer's insisting, of course I'd go. But so many other private things that I got, they want to see me, and you don't know what you're turning down. You think it's a club opening, and I think, no.
So when you look at, because last week he had a Katlego Danki, and she was on Backstage as well.
Yeah.
And, she seems to be doing well with her career. So when you juxtapose that with your career, where do you think she got it right and you might have gotten wrong, apart from the social networking, the real one that you're talking about that was taught to you?
I don't know about her work, or I don't Google actors that I work with. Even when I'm going to be working somewhere, like even the show coming on the show, I don't want to know. I can say just I don't know her. I've worked with her at least 2 times on Backstage and on Generations, as you know, and I don't know her as a person. She's excellent, excellent. I keep everything that I record, that I have a video machine, and I keep tapes and tapes, and I keep the scripts until the thing broadcasts, and I know exactly. I'm slightly OCD and Virgo like that, so I write down on a piece of paper what scenes, I number them, and I know this scene 6, you in, scene 9, you in, and maybe that's it for the episode if it's something that I'm doing, broadcasting every day, like Generations or Siba or whatever. And then I know cue the previous scene before I'm in, what cue it is, the last thing that's going to be said. And then I've got the video machine and the remote control. So back to back without the commercial breaks. So I watched many of our scenes, for example, with Katle Duncan, Spootla, and all the people that I worked with. So I remember very well. I know exactly what I'm talking about. She's got great energy to work with. And I'm sorry things didn't work out. And it didn't get completed, our storyline. But then everything happens for a reason.
And what about substance abuse? Have you dabbled in that?
No. No, that's maybe why I don't and have socialized that much, because lacking in coming to the party full on, because that type of fast life, saying if you're going to dance with the devil, you better know the tune. But it doesn't mean that somebody's going to be gallivanting or having a good time and going out, that it would lead to that. It would invite that if you are strong. But then if you are not strong and other people are drinking around you, and I do drink myself, if other people are drinking around you and you don't drink, and the next time there's another excuse, you don't smoke that, it makes it obvious that you're trying to put them in a position of diminished power. And you find they disassociate from you slightly when they're more on a mind meld with somebody that they're imbibing with. You understand what I'm saying? So going to strip clubs, that's not my vibe. As you think celebrities, people presume we all live the fast life. When something comes out, a movie or I'm on TV, I'm watching it alone. And it's not good. This is when you're supposed to come out as an artist. You see, now going back to the regret. Many, many times I've got something coming out and I've gotten paid and I've still got the money. I've saved it. I've paid my rent 3 months. I like to do that so that when I'm in trouble with my landlord, he knows I don't mess around. When I do have money, I pay. And when I do get a job, I let him know. What was I going on about?
Can you understand the confusion though? Because here you are, you're diligent with your money. There's no substance abuse. You are getting opportunities. I mean, with the resume that we just mentioned, opportunities were there.
Yeah.
So how do you find ourselves?
Few and far between. You must be aware. After Backstage, I said maybe a year just over until Mfundi Vundla comes to my rescue again with Josie H. And Josie H, I had 3 calls. And then I sit again until I get, I sit again and Josie H, and then I sit again until I get How to Steal 2 Million Rand. That was about 10, 12 maybe. And then I got 3 calls from there. And then I sit again until Mfundi comes to my rescue again, and that's about 2013, no, 2011. And I got Silo Mbuyane, and I was working on and off for 3 years. And I'm lucky to be working when I do work, but it is not what you'd presume, that it is many, many calls. I usually get 3 calls, 5 calls. There are few productions I've gotten 3 months.
And is that because there's
Tula's Vine and How to Steal Tula's Vine and Akina Motoso, Hassan, Place Called Home. Those are the only 2.
And is that because a lot of people that I chat to in the industry, there are people that are hard to work with, maybe via ego or they're just hard in general, and those are the people that usually get blackballed, that don't get the calls for productions and stuff. Would you categorize yourself under that?
You must go and ask. You must go and ask. Ask crew, ask actors, ask office staff. No, I have always showed up on time, and thank God I'm healthy. I've never been sick ever. With jobs like Backstage, you show up just about every day, 5 days a week. I have never, another soap I did for a long time, Generations. I have never. People take advantage of it, and they will come back and say, "Oh, my doctor says 3 days," and you know they're partying. You can see their eyes; they're red, and they take 3 days off. They inconvenience the crew, the cast, production. You find they're doing big scenes with extra talent, background talent, and everything has to be shuffled around. Or they pick up the phone and say, "Listen, yeah, this show doesn't control my life, man. I've got other things to," and the guy jumps on a plane and goes to Port Elizabeth or whatever and turns off the phone. I've never done that. I've never come to work not knowing my lines, storylines. Sometimes they can go on. Backstage was pretty long. I had the first one, and then it was 3 months, and then the second one was 4 months, and the writers apologized. "Sorry, it's going on too long." And I realized at the same time, it's because they're depending on me, they're trusting in me, they're enjoying what I'm delivering. So they just, the midnight oil is just burning. They're coming up with more concepts, what to keep the storyline going. Because if I wasn't reliable, if I wasn't doing a good job pleasing them, they'll just say, "Cut the storyline short. Don't bring him on a storyline again." So now the thing is, biggest regret, not networking, keeping to myself, and being at peace, thinking it's okay. Everything's going to work out. See all Hollywood actors. I'm not comparing myself. I'm not on that level, but it's in your face, up and down on the red carpet.
Do you think you can just boil it down to that, like the people that you started working with, they're successful now because they did all of that? You think you can just...
They were out there.
So when you live alone in your head, and you are living alone, you might be missing things that are right there in front of you. But honestly, if I'm to just go back to the root and maybe the...
Because for an example, we never did that. Like myself and so, we were never out there, for example, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We still keep to ourselves. But like, I'm curious, when the gigs start drying up, and because you're a brilliant actor, everybody's seen your work.
Mistakes, I make mistakes like everybody else, and I grow. I'm not perfect. Nobody can be perfect. Thank you.
True. When the gigs start drying up, what feedback are you getting when they reject you? Are they saying that, "Hey man, it's like you don't have it anymore"? Has your performance diminished? Like what kind of feedback? Because surely I think as a good actor, when you keep auditioning now and your strike rate drops, you want to know, like what has changed. I'm sure it's more than just new faces and on the block, especially when we still have actors from 20, 30 years ago still appearing as long as they are healthy.
That you don't get. I don't like to be confrontational with my agents. I won't say agents. I always stay.
Then, to be honest with you, also, aren't they also just volunteering this info?
I have asked a previous agent, and she's called me and she said, "Okay, you need to come in. I'll make some time for you." And I did. I was on Backstage, and I was sensing I'm on 2 years when we moved to Joburg, and I said, "Look, are you still going to be getting me auditions? What? Because it's been quiet." And she says to me, "Listen, why I set you down is to tell you." With some actors doing what you do, it works. But with you, you've been branded Duke. Maybe it's a unique thing here already before even casted in anything. When casting agents or producers think of you, they just think, Duke. No, we don't want him with that attachment. coming onto the productions. And many other actors, my peers or younger, they do different, and they can do the same character wearing a suit. You always see the guy respectable wearing a suit, playing a different character, still the same guy, not shaved, no mustache, anything. And it sells because they're solid actors. And it doesn't matter what show they've been on. But with me and maybe other actors like me, it doesn't work. Maybe because it's distinct or I'm flattering myself, it doesn't work. So that agent told me that before I moved on to 2 other agents that I stayed with. Legends, thank you very much. Lisa Mudisane and your crew. Pedro, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. So I don't ask that. I don't, because it seems, I'd rather go with trusting that if anything, they will tell you. So, I wanted to fill this in about the question that you asked. Why is it? And myself, no, I tend to be too resolute and too mutable to fate. And most of the time, I don't have friends. I've never really had friends or partied. If I told you something, you wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe me. And it's not feeling sorry for myself, but then maybe you'd get to have a glimpse of the pocket I've always been in. And it's not sad, but maybe you could say, no, look at the results. You're not working. I have never had a birthday party. I have never had a party of any kind. I've never. I said no violence on 702. And then when you look at the subtitles, it says no violence because you can't hear mumbled. No violence. I've never had a party. I've never had a New Year's party outside of home. Once I left home, 1991, then it was never a big deal at all. Person, not sociable, very well respected, but no friends coming in and out. I come from that background. New Year's wasn't a big thing. Christmas decorations wasn't a big thing. It's just the bare bones. And it's just they could afford all of that. We'd have presents, but usually money. My birthday, I would get money and something practical to count with, a box from my parents. So that's the type of person I am. At school, I never had friends, really. I had 2 friends, Daniel Rue, an acquaintance, Mark Abrahams. Thank you for your company. Daniel Rue wound up being a lecturer at political science maestro at Cape Town University. So I'd always be sitting up on the field, Sacred Heart College, under the trees, reading Beckett and Pinter at break. I never hung around in the quadrangle. Not that there was anything wrong with anybody, but I couldn't fit into that. And this would go on now, unbeknownst to me, to be a reflection, a mirror reflection in my working life when I start out being a public person, and one that is reclusive. Come on. And then you are reclusive. When you are hungry, you can't come out and just sell yourself. You don't say, I'm hungry. You sell yourself. Call your agent. Hey, SAFTAs, hook me up, get me a ticket. But then when I look around, clothes, I never invested in that. It's years now. Too late. I should have been doing this when I was on Backstage. Get me out to the whatever event, Feather Awards. They didn't exist back then. Never did. I played alone, even at school, even at Pretoria Technical. Okay, I had people around, but I was essentially alone, aloof.
But Carlo, what I'm struggling to understand, right? It's not a unique case. And I don't want to be insensitive or anything to a situation, you know what I mean? But we've interviewed a lot of actors and they all say the same thing. Like, sometimes it's dry season, you never know, typecasting, stuff like that. And also royalties, not being paid royalties, and the frequency of gigs. But they've all seemed to overcome that. So my question then becomes, what is the special case with your situation?
That I don't work.
Did you try maybe getting other jobs just randomly?
Outside of acting, maybe.
No. Okay, I see where you're going with this. I got that thing when I had the Twitter spillover into the Facebook, my account, and people. Why don't you try anything else? Okay. I have held on for so long, for nearly 19 years. And every year it has been, you started this since the age of 10 years old. I've done other jobs before I got Backstage. Just before, when I was staying in Pretoria, after I finished, I stayed for 3 years there with an agent and doing the auditioning. And it's how I've stayed on for so long, holding on into the next year, into the next year, into the next year. And I'm a type of person that's very, very stubborn. And this is what my stubborn nature has caused now, to the point where people are concerned and I must be the basket case. It's this thing in doing enzyme. It's maybe a bad comparison. I don't want to insult anybody. Ifana nobusangoma ne, ifana noma ufuna ukuba in nurse to care after people. Ufuna ukuba yi-firefighter, ufuna ukuba umfundisi. It's a calling. No matter the pain, no matter the conditions, people that work ER, and you think, how do you do what you do? And then you go home and you sit down, you have a plate of food, and you don't think about the blood and the guts, because it is a calling. I've had this thing since I was 10 years old. You could call it a bug. I've had it. And holding on all this time, I think I can't let go of this. It's like a dog with a bone. I can't. And as the years get more and more, I just think, if I'm going to let go of this, what is it going to do now? Am I going to self-destruct subconsciously? Yeah. I'm going to go and get a job doing whatever it is, and maybe I'm lucky at that, and I make a living, and I get married, I have a kid. But then my spirit being unsettled and always wanting and watching TV. I've watched several thousands of movies, documentaries. I've invested so much time in this tube. And now, will I ever be able to watch this? Will it be my demon, my ghost, where I have to switch it off and have a bad heart, and then it affects my marriage?
So, with that said, then, wouldn't you say, by the same token, not getting gigs has frustrated you, and possibly what effects, has it had on your mental well-being and just on your physique? Because if you love something that much and you're taken away from it and you don't have access to it, surely, as you are saying, if you were to switch careers, it's going to affect you. Has it affected you?
Yes, I don't know exactly how, but it has made me stronger. It has made me more in touch with who I'm supposed to be, the voice inside me. And I can tell you, with all the long periods I've stayed without work, I work my ass off from when people get up in the morning to go to work. I'm usually up at the same time, if not before, because I can't sleep long.
And the guilt. Have you tried to reach out to, I mean, you've been in the industry for long. Like maybe, like Mfundi Vundla, to say, hey, man, you got anything happening? Or like some celebrity friends that you might know that might, like, have you tried reaching out?
No, I haven't. And not Mfundi Vundla. I would never. Him and his wife, Karen Vundla and Charlie Vundla, have done so much for me. Charlie Vundla has had me in 2 of his movies. The other man, Cuckold, you asked, is that a porn movie? And he's had me in How to Steal 2 Million. And Mfundi has had me in Chosi H. He started this whole thing with Backstage. He's had me on Generations. There's one person. But then I've never spoken to them, actually. We've never had a conversation except hello, just go past and mumble, shop. No, and I've never had celebrity friends. That's why if you Google my name, I've never had friends. You Google me, you look under pictures, you never see me. I'm proud of that. No red carpet, no nothing, with nobody, except maybe 2 pictures I took on set with Mabatu. Manso. And no, I don't have any, and I have to change that. I have to change that.
And when this story broke, did anyone reach out to you?
As in the people that donated? Yes.
No, not the people that donated, like people in your industry, like when the story broke, your peers.
No.
No one reached out.
No, I think it's just a shock, and everybody's got their own problems. And another thing is
No one reached out at all.
No, my problem is asking for money at the wrong time when this financial crunch started 2008 and the war in Russia and what. I thought about that afterwards, and people are up to their necks watching the news, media, and everything that's going wrong in the world. And here I am, South Africa's got its own problems. Here, the election's coming up. Here I am shoving my hand in the pot, saying, banging my tin cup. Come on, you owe me something. Oh. People are struggling day to day. I've walked into a store, big store, and I'm watching, I've got my sunglasses on and my cap, and I'm watching people at the meat section there. And they're darting around with meat parcels and shopping and changing and probably trying to get something better. They're all doing this. And I just stood there looking busy. And I'd see this economy is pretty awful to people. And for me to be asking, I'm very, very grateful to those people that it helped. And I don't blame whoever it is that looks at it. Also say, why don't you go and get another job? I'm not afraid. But at the age of 52, where do you start when you've invested all your energy in this? And it has paid out. So there is something in it potentially for me.
Do you believe that like your contribution into what you love, is only at an acting level? Because that hasn't been working for a while now. What kind of, other opportunities would you say you're open to taking, utilizing, and how can you contribute to what you love outside of being in front of the camera?
This comes to me too late, as I said, to learn how to write, how to direct, and how to choose from that standpoint. And I've always loved to direct, watching so much material. And I've directed for stage at Pretoria Technikon. I did a Harold Pinter play called The Room, and it got full houses. Like, I think I broke the record. They were putting up chairs. People were calling after the 3-day run that we had. They're calling from Stellenbosch, from UCT, saying, we want to come up. Can you extend it? And I was explained, no, it's a 30th student. We only give them an opportunity to have 3 shows and 1 matinee on the Saturday, or if it's during the week. And they wanted to bring the show out. It was the same thing when I did Woza Albert with Silo Sibutsane. Thank you very much to Stanley Jacobs for Woza Albert, R.I.P. Stanley. Thank you very much to Audrey Mullen for taking the helm. It won the best production of the Technikon that year, at the end of the year. And we went on to do it at the Breitenbach Theatre on Gerard Moordijk to expose you as a student to 2 weeks of what it's like working on stage professionally. And they bring in the newspapers and they bring in a live audience when we did that. For 2 weeks. So that was a great run. Sorry.
So would you say your talent is a gift and a curse?
Oh, yeah, you're asking. What is it that I'd love to do? Yes, I went to Big Fish, but this is after the fact. I went to Big Fish. I heard about it. They teach directing, and I think you have to apply to the government to get in, and they teach you for free. And I've been thinking about that. This is when I got Silo Mvuyane, but it was going out now, 2014, and it ended suddenly. And then when I go there and I've got petrol on my bike, I think now I'm going to sign myself up for this. Nothing is happening right now. The generation's contract is terminated. What if I sign myself up? Now I'm not living that far away and I need to get myself there. They have evening classes and I can't get through. Then I'm going to have to abandon this. So I'm sitting, waiting for work. And it does come in intermittently. So yes, I would like to study and I'd like to be...
But would you say your talent is a gift and a curse?
Heavy lies the head that wears the crown. And sometimes it comes with itchy powder and sticky glue all mixed in. And sometimes it's an honor. You're in trouble. You just turn around. Somebody says, here you go. Somebody says, here you go. And that can make you feel fucking special. Yeah. And you can get assistance when you need it, when you least expect it. That is the bright side of having something like this, an opportunity like this. But yeah, when times are down, dark like this, and you get up in the morning and you go out, and people bump into you, it's not their business to be concerned about your state of being and what they see is what they've grown up or see on the television or on the screen. And that can be very uplifting. Somebody just says, "Hi, how are you?" And they remember you when you're trapped in your own world.
Have you been suicidal?
No, I'm a narcissist, but a good narcissist. I couldn't do that. I'm a clean freak as well. So that'll clash, because then there's going to be, there are people that it's not a joke to imagine, and you see it in movies or whatever you're watching, people wanting to kill themselves. There's the one about Robin Williams, something over Brooklyn.
Yes.
And I only saw it on TV after it passed away. And then you find out how he was ailing inside. He's got this terrible disease.
That's why I asked that. I'm getting those vibes.
And then when I see this, I actually saw it twice. They repeated it on ATV. They repeated it. I saw it breaking Brooklyn. And I tried to imagine what he was feeling. And did anybody know on the set that he's actually contemplating it? And it does such a brilliant job. James Earl Jones, I think he has a scene, he walks into a shop to buy a video camera with James Earl Jones' character, and is a stutterer. He does a fantastic job. You've got to rewind James Earl Jones. It's a short scene. Yeah, no, it's a very serious thing, and I'm not making light of it.
Did anyone know? Like, did anyone know? Like your producers, cast members, no one knew about this?
Bothered. It's that person that I am from school. Just suck it up and look on the bright side. And
that's crazy,
I'm not going to be the only one that suffers.
Ghost lady, you got a question?
I do. So just to go back on your health, because I know there was a picture circulating what seemed like you're in a hospital bed. Obviously, they said that when you were down and out, and there was that article. So, was there anything to elaborate on your health issues, or maybe was there a diagnosis?
No, that picture's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I was in the same state of health that I was in. I don't know if it's the lighting or I was unshaven, but when I look at it, it's pretty awful. And the concern that it is creative. No, I've never had health issues. You can check the hospitals and the doctors, they'll tell you. I've never been very, very lucky with my health.
So even now, clean bill of health?
Yeah, clean. I do get flu. I do get the odd headache, but that's once in 2 years.
Have you done any therapy? Because I don't know. What if you're ailing inside and you don't know? You're not aware.
Is it as in health-wise, physically?
No, emotionally, mentally.
No, I haven't. I haven't. I sublimate things. I think a lot, and I always distract myself. I like to read, and I was answering. People think you're lying in bed, whatever. I'm slightly OCD. I'm higher functioning. Asperger's. It's good. It's a syndrome. It's not a disease. Many people have it. It's almost like Rain Man, but Rain Man, you call it. Dustin Hoffman, you call it lower functioning because we're like higher functioning is you don't notice it, but you're fastidious with certain things without bothering anybody, I hope. So I'm always like that. I have chores. I drag them out throughout the day. And when people come back from work, I'm still finishing up with my chores in between what I'm doing, whether I'm reading or I've downloaded documentaries. I keep a lot of documentaries, and I'm always keeping my mind active. And when people are sitting down for supper, I'm just like that. When I get out of bed, it is absolute habit. Make your bed from growing up. Take a shower, brush your teeth before sitting down and doing anything, because that can lead to depression when you're not working. And then you keep in your place because you don't feel like it. When you keep in your place, you're not neat. And then it piles up. And you see this thing, hoarders, right?
Yes.
And you think, how the hell is this person going to find any respite or any help when they're living in this shit? You got to. So that's how the whole time I've got things cooking. What I cook for myself. I went to culinary school for 2 years. Wow. I cook, I bake, I can iron, I can sew my own clothes. Damn. It's as if I knew I was going to be a bachelor, because I learned how to cook when I was about 11 years old. And I'll pay attention. Then I started with onion and tomato, and then it's too much salt. I'm cooking too quickly, and it's all burnt. It's as if I knew how to sew, got my grandmother teach me how to sew, how to iron. It's as if I was in preparation. Not that it's good, not that it's what I want. I've had enough. I've had enough of it. I've got to get back on course and play the game.
Listen, man, speaking about games, we want to play a game with you on a light-hearted note, yeah?
Oh, Piki Piki Mabelane Sala gentleman.
Tango.
That's one.
It's called Win Last, ne? It's called Win Last, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's what the game is called. All right, cool. When last did you say, I love you?
2006.
Whoa.
April. That was my fiance before she moved out. Yeah, I would say that to each other.
So you haven't said I love you since? To anyone? Not your mother, your dad, nothing?
Cousin, family, brother, siblings.
Wow, that's insane, bro.
What's it like, your relationship? What has it always been like, and where is it now with like blood family?
That is something I've never discussed, even if when Facebook came out, I never include them.
No, it's fine. I think we'll leave that one.
Okay, cool.
When last did you have a threesome?
An orgy. Oh, Jesus, I love your bathrooms. Who were those people in there? Bailiff, whack his pee-pee. Is that Judge Judy? No, sorry, the jury will disregard that. Do I have to plead the First or the Fifth Amendment? No. Okay, no. I would never, though I don't live rough like that. You're going to be an old person at some point. I mean, there's so many regrets in life, ne? There's so many regrets, inevitable. Like you're going to get up, you trip on your laces, you fall, you break your cap like Joe Biden. No, there's so many regrets. There's other things that you can do consciously. Some of them are mistakes.
So you regret having a threesome?
No. No, I don't want to have a caboodle. I don't want to have, I don't want to have regrets. Then you walk past people and somebody says, hey, Carlo, you go, hey. And it's the second time they're greeting you at the event. I can't imagine that. And they say, hey, eventually, it's me. And you go, who are you? And they're like, don't you remember my name? I remember you invited me to your place. You made me dinner. You fucked me. And then you made me coffee. And you threw me out like Charlie Sheen. What the hell is the matter with you? No, man. How many people like that? You got to do that to people you can't even remember. You can't even honor their souls. The time that they spent. Sex is a very spiritual. Sex is a very spiritual thing. I've never played around with people. I've never played around with emotions. I've never ghosted anybody. Ghosting is now fashionable. It is horrible. People did it before, but it wasn't called ghosting. It's horrible. And I can't do that to a person. So I read something once on a bus in Cape Town when I was doing Backstage. And I'd take the bus now I was going into Long Street. And it says, the feet you step on today might be attached. The toes you step on today might be attached to the feet that are attached to the asshole that you have to kiss tomorrow. So you want to be careful. Stepping on people, you don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. And I've seen that happen. Somebody, they're working, we do the mat in Cape Town, and the waitress, and they're coming up, Duke, I don't know who they are. And they're like, hey, can I have your number? And as I'm about to leave, please, can I? And I can see where this is going. I'm like, no, 'cause I had a girlfriend. She's waiting for me at home. I had to say that, but very nicely. And then couple of months later, there they are on Backstage, and they go on to be super famous beyond Backstage. And I have to work with them. Now this ghosting thing, this playing around with people thing. Now imagine if I'd gone ahead and done that and mess around with them. And then they're hurt, or they keep quiet. And then they wind up working there with people. This is my bed. You don't shit the bed in the bed that you're going to be eating in. And then they decide that actually is a bad guy like this. And I don't need that crap. There's going to be enough regret at the end of your life. You don't have to create it for yourself. If you want to lay, you do it right. You go out, you date, you go to a wedding preferably. You go to a church, be introduced to by a family member. If you want to do that, play that game, you go to a nightclub. But you know what you're going to, and not everybody in a nightclub, but if you dance with the devil, you better know the tune. All right. No, I don't. I've never. I'm very serious and stoic about certain things. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. But that's just, I don't mess with people. And then it winds up in a situation where I have to turn to people, good people, to help me. Actors that I've worked with. I'm not saying they turned their back on me. I never invested energy in them. That's why I said you've never seen me in a picture with my co-workers, with actors. They go out. It's not because they left me out. They work with me and they pick up, oh, this guy knows cool like that. We'll go out on our own. And then I don't pursue it like, hey, listen, I've been invited. Hey, I play golf, another actor. Can introduce you to people. Go get yourself an outfit, what. And KB, the musician, was on Backstage. Yeah. Thank you so much. KB tried several times. CARLO, you got to dress up. You got to treat yourself in a way. Just show up to work dressed up. I say, but what's the use? You say, you feel better about yourself. And then when people, you're out there, even if you're shopping, doing your grocery shopping at the mall, anybody can approach you and you dress for the part. You feel good and they treat you, they see you in a different light. And I always, you can get sponsors. I can hook you up. She's like, you can use my sponsors. I'm like, she came back about 2-3 times over the course of 2 years. And only afterwards, I think, I had someone like that saying, and she was doing it for a reason. And she's successful. She's still working. I don't blame anybody. Not that the industry turned their back on me. I had a list like this when Backstage was terminated by Dion Opperman. Thank you, ETV, for the 4 years that I had. And when Dion Opperman took over from a previous producer, Clive Morris, thank you, Clive Morris, there was maybe another producer. And obviously, Mfundi Vundla was the original, and then ETV took over. They gave me 4 years of this. I had this whole list of all the directors, all the crew members, camera, what, actors we've worked with. When this happened, I had airtime. I sat there for... I know these, okay. I've never called them. I've never had lunch with them. I've never invested energy. Now I'm going to pick up the phone and say, help me. Hey, brah, can you hook me up? The person they've got their own problems. The person can say, okay, I'll see what I can do for you. But really, why do they have to? So I just said, then eventually, after 2 weeks, I took the thing to the bin and I tore it up very slowly, saying, you're going to regret this, never having had the human relationships. I was not deserted. I did not invest myself. And some people can not be invested, like you said. Not everybody's social, or active.
Yeah.
But then if you've got the right brains and you've got the right momentum and you've got to have a plan. I never. 3-year plan, never. That means I must have a backup plan. No, I'm invested in what I'm on. And I would hate that question. What's your 5-year plan? No, you're playing a dangerous game. I never had that. So now when you're dealing with people, you're around people, you're almost like in a haze. So who's going to really, really take you seriously and take up after you and pursue it? Because if you've got that plan, you'll do it subconsciously to get out, even if you're not going to an important place. Jazz on the lake, never went to go. You don't know who you're going to meet. It could be love, it could be friendship. I'm thinking, no, I've got my agent and the people that appreciate my talent, what they see. Steven Spielberg I almost said Steven Seagal. Steven Spielberg, the producer, is going to be in the country, is going to be in a hotel, channel surfing, and is going to pick up the phone and say, who's that guy on the television? Get hold of his... No, it doesn't work like that. I don't blame anybody.
When last did you receive advice?
In the game.
Yeah. When last did you receive advice and it stuck with you?
Okay. When last did I receive advice and it stuck with me? The best advice I received, and I've always carried it with me, is from my daddy. He said, son, whatever bad you think is bad, there is nothing as bad or bad news as when somebody that you care for passes away, is dead. So in a sense, anything else in life, you approach it with a sense of reverence like that. Mutability. But maybe I've been I've been too lax on myself, just leaving everything to the universe year after year, praying. I'm not doing bad to anybody as far as I know, and my lucky stars are going to come up. My God can hear me. I'm going to work. My attitude and my heart is at the right place. It's not enough. God only helps those who help themselves. You're not going to step out into your garden when it's summertime and reap anything off the ground unless you've toiled it with your sweat until you've planted something. What did I invest? Innocent thing. Just go out to a party. And I thought, is this going to come back? When I was doing it, is this going to come back and haunt me? Is this going to come back and haunt me? And it's the universe saying, you can't. It's giving you back. These people watching TV, they're giving. Everything is a yin and yang, as within, as without, up, down, left, right, forward, backward. You're giving. They're giving to you. You're taking the energy. And then at the end of it, boom, you close your books and you run off with your book back to your little enclave. And you sit there and you watch and you say, okay, thank you for the payment. No, you've got to live. You've got to take risks. You've got to go and give back in any other way. Not just being seen and reiterate, balance that energy. Never did.
Man, that's crazy. Pinduka, any last question, man?
Yeah, man. Oh. Do you believe in spirituality, like African spirituality? Not that you must share those details, but do you believe in it?
The Bible will tell you what it tells you. There is a spiritual dimension. For white people, for black people, for any color, there is a spiritual dimension to everything. It's just the way it is. And then you can't attach it to your religion if you're religious. I'm not going to say anything. What I know, Christian might say, but he sounds like a convenient Christian now. Tolerating this, tolerating that. For one, I love Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I don't like musicals too much. I love that. And I put it up there on Facebook. And when I'm checking myself, I think, what?
So you don't believe in spirituality?
Oh, no. The Bible is the Bible. But you must be
African spirituality.
Absolutely.
You don't believe in it?
I believe in it. I believe in all of that. The Native American Indians have their own. These worlds exist. They exist with, it's like the ebb and flow of the ocean, the undertow and the overtow. They exist. I believe in it. And the Bible will tell you, the Bible is made up of many other different books. That's what I'm getting to. Over 300 versions kept in the vaults of the Vatican. Dan Brown. There we go. So it's selective. They tell you what they tell you, but it's always the truth. But then other things to keep you out. You must not look at horoscopes. That's necromancy. And someone might say, but these are things that we're naturally born with, the sixth sense and all of that. Why do you have a sixth sense? Just before something happens, ask Donald Trump. Just before something happens, so much so he moves his head and that bullet whizzes past. Where did that come from? Someone says angelic intervention. Absolutely. But it can come from any dimension. I believe in that. I'm not close-minded at all.
So do you often check your, affairs spiritually?
No, I've been lax, but it's something I've always been open to. I grew up with it like any black child in a black family, and I have respect for it at all times. Respect for other things that are not spoken of, respect for other things that we cannot see. Just because now you're thinking with your eyes, your brain tells you what it tells you, but you're thinking with your eyes until.
CARLO, in closing, man, obviously it's not a pity party. You came here to tell your truth. What do you want chillers and South Africa watching this to take out of this, and how would you like to go forward in terms of, are we getting back in the scene? Do you want jobs? Do you want castings? What's the situation?
Okay. All I'm asking for is for consideration to audition and to work just like any other actor and be given what I get, deservedly so, rightfully so, and to make a living, to get back some of the many things that I've missed out on, a life for 20 years, 19 years, and nobody put me in that situation. And I'd like very, very much to get back into the flow of things and to work, man, and to be productive and to share energy with people that I work with and to have a life. I said, this is my situation. Many people are in this. It's like the movies with James Franco, 127 Hours, and Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. If you've seen those two movies, especially 127 Hours, it's enclosed. It takes place, it's almost like Dust Boat, Wolfgang Peterson in the submarine. This is during World War II. It's claustrophobic. I suffer claustrophobia. Eventually, I had to get medication for claustrophobia because of the situations I have lived in for the last 13 years now. I lived in the one place for 8 years, and because the rent is so much cheaper, whoa, it hit me just one time. I think I was staying there the 4th year, just coming in one night and putting on the TV. Whoa, couldn't even open the windows. The burglar bars and there's no view. Put on 2 fans I had in there. Oh, then the trouble began with claustrophobia, man. And that's a synonym for how I feel inside. You say, how do you feel? Do you know how you feel? Have you thought about getting therapy? It's unspoken. And I'd have to do this to be healthy, to debrief. Yeah. Sure. But that's just about how it's been for me, like being thrown down a well or throwing yourself down the well or finding yourself at the bottom of a well and the lid slowly shuts. But it happens like a frog that's being boiled alive. And it starts up like that frog being put in a saucepan of lukewarm water and then it's slowly heated up. The frog doesn't sense it. And that door over 19 years, that lid, has slowly shut in front of me, where it's not exactly time photography sequence, and it just got flung shut. And I have gotten used, like anybody, you get used to a situation in the whole Papillon, Steve McQueen. And when he's put into solitary confinement and he winds up eating flies off the ground, that feeling, I know it very well, and I never want to have it again. And I never want to see somebody in that situation in terms of, we'll talk about that later.
That's
motivating people in that darkest hour. I understand that. I know it. And the thing is, it has not killed me through grace. It has not destroyed me. It has not made me feel lesser of myself than I felt before, except that my physical reality, the materialistic reality, the bad habit of having to get up and eat every day, so overrated. But we all have to do it. And you're fit and you're able, you want to work and things are still there, vibrant. And it's like, well, come on. It's like hitching at the side of the road, holiday season. It's happened before, years ago. And cars just go past, and it's a quiet, you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like a scene out of Baghdad Cafe.
You've never done mushrooms, nothing. You've never done mushrooms.
I eat mushrooms. No, I'm not allergic. Is it bad?
No, mushrooms like psychedelics.
No, do you get that at the vet?
I've
been
no
to the
idea.
vet a few times.
I have no idea.
Got no medical aid.
Pinduka, last question.
Yeah. You attribute a lot of things not working out for you due to you not putting yourself out there and actually living life, and having that human exchange outside of work with people. Do you do that now? Because, you're still alive, you're still breathing. So surely you have to change the trajectory at some point.
Too late, not right
No,
now.
why is it too late?
I can't. I am not, excuses. I am not working. I'm not financially viable. I don't live in the best circumstances. And thank you very much to the family that has accommodated me at the back. And I cannot be doing that with people's donations and going out and sitting.
Oh, no, not to drink and whatever. Just
No, I
Take
can't.
a walk, chill at the park, meet someone, talk to a stranger.
No, I'm out.
Give a talk to kids at drama school. I mean, you have so much knowledge. You've read up and you know so much about film. You still can contribute so much to so many people.
That's what I'm hoping forward to. But right now, I'm still kind of like hog-tied. I can't. I don't have mood. What's this? I can't get around transport. I can't get around. I can't. I'm fasting right now. Right now, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, for him to come here, Tuso had to fetch him. You know your friend Tuso?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Tuso, man.
Thank you.
Just don't sit behind if he's driving in a buggy. Sit with him. Otherwise, you might not make it, just destination. Shout out. Where is he at? Oh, I love him, man. He's my friend. Come on. What's banter amongst friends? It's banter amongst friends. Come on.
Yeah, so I this is what I'm looking forward to. And I've waited till too late. And I've learned that it doesn't pay out. Maybe for some people, if you're lucky like that, but angeke udle anything uhlezi khoneni, angeke uthole nix. Or mawuthola uzothola nje ama-peanuts. You've got to get into the game of life. You've got to throw back your cares and your tears, but always have your one eye on the corner of the brakes within reason. And just live your life. Live.
But CARLO, in closing, what do you want to be remembered as when it's all said and done?
All right. Wow. Okay. Now I'm gonna bounce out of that. You know why? Because I've seen people speak. They feel it like, what would you like as an epitaph on your gravestone? You might as well ask me that. Here it is. My name, date of birth, and the day I departed. That's it. How I want to be remembered is through my actions and whatever. And hopefully it's something with honor. And it's not like I want statues. I want no statues, no street names, no nothing. I just want to live and contribute as best as I can and flop where I flop, slice, and get back up and make right and have sublimated and improved and evolved. You look at other actors, Robert Downey Jr. had his own who thinks about his problems? Now, what you think is Iron Man, you think Hollywood, A-lister, motivates so many other people. I don't know if his reputation is 100% clean. Mickey Rourke, Darren Aronofsky, the wrestler, he had his own troubles with showing up on set with his Hell's Angels and causing disruption on set and threatening producers to put some of these Hellraisers in as extras and dress them up and being absent from work for 2 weeks on end. And you look at how it's turned out. So he's learned something for himself. There's always that. I'm not comparing myself to those actors and their troubles, but just to say, just because things are not, there's a reason why I had to go through this. If no matter, there will be opportunity for me. Noah in the belly of the whale. There's so much to look forward to. And it took whatever it took to bring me to this. And I thank everything that has happened. And I don't hate myself for it. It's just shook me up. And I actually turned this down. I turned down 702. I turned down Uhlozi FM. And my agent says, CARLO, look, hey, you opened up the Ouija board here. You got to play. So here I am. And this is how I've been watching all these other celebrities, RGB, Selima Tunzi. They're inviting people into their homes. Check out, this is the thing. This is what you've done for me. This is my vibe. This is what they're buying, whatever. And I think, oh man, you're all over the place. You've got a job, relax. No, they're doing this for a reason. They're keeping themselves active and relevant, not just to their fans, but to people, potential employers that might want to work with them. Now, if you work and run away and going out and you think, oh yeah, they're going to call anytime, they're going to forget you. So many people are coming up at events, they're meeting these people, Yeah. So if you're an artist, if you're in any job, any career, you've got to get out there. You've got to network with people. And even if it's small, it's slow, let's start. Keep it constant. You need other people to get anywhere in life. And it makes you healthier because you're going to go through the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune just like anybody else. And there's nothing special about you. Amen.
It's crazy because the world has changed. Because the stars now, the guys that chill in their bedrooms and record and broadcast to 1 million people.
Yep, you can do that.
And I'm trying to go to cinema too.
like Kaiser Nets, dog. Kaiser Nets.
Yeah, that's it.
He chills in his house. And I'm saying there's a new generation of people like you.
Yeah.
Like you would thrive in today's generation.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. People working from home and podcasting and whatnot.
Streaming.
Yes,
Just talking, looking to a camera and
I've
speak.
seen
And interact.
Yeah.
but then the genuine thing behind it, the gravity should be. If it comes to it, I'm willing to go out there. The things jump. I'm willing to. But if you tell yourself those gifts, that balancing with the universe, balancing the chakras, listen to this one here, the energies, it's not going to happen. You've got to be able to own up to it. Yeah, now that's the lesson. Own up to it. If you want something, chase after it. And when you have it, don't let it go by being lax and thinking, yeah, I got this one in the bag. Now, what next? No, work on this thing here.
Out of curiosity, how many movies have you watched?
I don't know. I write down, like people keep diaries, like you know those books, diaries, right? I don't write down what happened today or Monday, the whatever. I start at the back, and every movie that I see, no matter if it's a repeat, I write down the title. If it's a repeat, I write down R stroke, and I write down the 2-3 famous actors, or a small part, an actor that I see their name when the credits, and I write down their name and I star it, like, damn, that guy, the support that he did. At one point, I had access to DSTV for about 2 years, around about 2009, 2010, 2011, the full package. And I had a video machine I was recording and watching. I was doing just under 50 to just maybe 52 movies. Yes, this guy's lying in bed the whole day watching movies. I was waiting on work. This is when I did How to Steal 2 Million in between. And just before I got Generations, I watched 50 movies, just over 50, and then on average 38. And in between, just documentaries. Documentaries I don't write down because that's just what I like to watch.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? You're going to edit, right? You're going to be able to edit. Jesus. Okay, all right. I'll say Sean Hurt in The Elephant Man. I saw it on Bob TV, late 80s. Bob TV was an underground channel that broadcast outside from Buputatswana, and it would spill over to some places, Joburg, and some houses in Soweto, and you'd get the Bob TV aerial. And just when it started, I could just tell this is going to be a good movie from the beginning. You can tell with the opening sequence, and I put on a tape, and I'd never seen John Hurt. John Hurt, the British actor, R.I.P. He was a character actor. He did Alien. He's the guy that has the thing in Alien come out of him, and he's screaming. Ridley Scott. Yeah. Elephant Man touched me so much. He plays John Merrick. He was a real character in the 1800s. He was horribly deformed. His face, he had elephantitis. Even his thighs would have boils. He stank. They found him in Anthony Hopkins' character, the one that finds John Merrick from the circus, rescues him and puts him in the hospital. He stays at the back. And the way that John Hurt did this role, the sensitivity, he did Quintillion Crisp, a naked civil servant. You see John Hurt, how versatile he was. Elephant Man, I recorded and I watched it over and over without. Bob TV didn't have commercials really, so that was the one good thing. Maybe there was the Lofty and One for Yourself, the Hansa ad that they would have. And that movie really, really touched me. There have been many others. I watched that over and over and over again. I fell in love with John Hurt.
Favorite South African movie?
Favorite. Okay. Okay. Oh. There was one. It's very undermined. It was on DSTV, round about the same time I was binge watching. It's called Shooting Boki. Shooting Boki. It's shot rough camera style, like a mockumentary. It had the kid from Sevendalan, the colored kid. He was on Sevendalan where it started for a long time. He was grown up already. And then his character got written out after some years, and he stars in that movie, and they shoot it in Cape Town. They showed it repeatedly on DSTV at that, and I was watching it repeatedly. Kunenye futhi ebizwa Winen, Uchina Nhlophe, and the late Patrick. He was also in Seven Line. He passed away about Patrick Shai. Yeah, Nhlophe. Yeah, that I saw it on Pretoria Street in Hillbrow at the mini cine. They used to have in the late 80s they show band movies on Pretoria Street in Hillbrow. The mini cine they used to call it. That's where I saw my first Monty Python, The Meaning of Life.
Oh,
and
wow.
Just show it for a couple of weeks or a couple of nights. And then Scarface also was banned, and just saw it there. And I saw Winning, and I remember Winning. I saw it late in the afternoon, like 3 o'clock or whatever. It was a cold winter day. I had to walk back and take taxis back home. And it was just the mood. It was brilliant. It's a horrible story about what happened in South Africa's past and the way it was shot. They had to shoot it, I think, in Botswana. I think they had to, yeah. I think it might have been released early 90s. And I saw it there. Those are the two most. The other one, Shooting Boki, is not political at all. But the way that it was shot and even the background talent, I would rewind it and just watch the background talent and Eshabeen and the characters there, this kid, and they're looking for him, the whole community, and the cameras going past, the people sitting there having drinks outside and inside. And you see these people are not actors, man. But like raw, the way that they chose them. And that's what I appreciate now after the fact. I watch a lot of extras, especially extras. I hate that. Background talent, the artists, whether they've been to an agency or not. I watch a lot of their shows like Seinfeld or whatever, stuff that I've seen. And then I'll just rewind and watch the whole thing again. I'm just looking at the extras. This is where I think the evolution as an actor, I've made mistakes that times when I've recorded, and I just cringe. I know it, and it just ruins my whole mood. I wanted to watch something from whatever. And the tape, I left it last time, and it's like, da. But that's growing. It has to hurt. And you think, oh, these people, fuck, man, they trusted me all along. Nobody complained. Nobody said anything. And they know the guy's got momentum. Keep him going. And maybe the good things that come out that read well, yeah. But I grow. Everybody grows. You have to grow. And I'm the best actor. I'm love. And I like to take direction. And I like to go up to a director and say, listen, I'm not condescending your job, with all respect, but I've got weaknesses. I've got certain habits. Just look out. Say, no, don't worry. I'll tell you. Just do. If we have to do the take again, we have to do a pickup, please. I know you don't want to make me look bad, or I might distract or whatever. Just keep me in focus and make sure it comes out right. And you're going to worry about whatever else you worry about. I've got my own insecurities, and I'm not that type of actor to say, no. I think we have enough takes now. Lunch!
Crazy.
Friday,
Wow, man.
I feel like it's a walking encyclopedia.
There's still so much, you could contribute so much. I don't know what, a movie critic, or I don't know, man, but you've got so much. You have a wealth of knowledge, and passion for what you do, and you don't see yourself as bigger than it, but a scholar rather of it, and you could use that as your contribution out there. I think there's still so much you could offer, man.
Thank you very much.
You're brilliant.
Thank you, CARLO. Thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it, man. We out of here, man. Podcast and chill. Boom.
Bye.
Welcome to Black Excellence. Do not fear, for if you do, just sip on some grandeur. And if you still do, ask ourselves, what would Mapapunzi do? Parama chila, itlasha lefiki. Ungoyiki, even if when they ask you, how sabi yini, do not fear. For if you do, just say, Anistivi. This is the medicine of censorship. This is the pill. Which one is that one? Podcast and chill.